Hey guys, it's Bro. As of the time of this recording, which is November 24th, I'm the current world record holder for Pokemon Yellow 80% Glitchless, taking the record back from Pokeguy, or not back, but taking the record from Pokeguy. It's been a while since there's been like a commentary video explaining the Yellow route. I know Gunner had a commentary video for one of his 154 world records. I think it's 36, but there's been a couple different reroutes since then, and um, I'm going to try to go through this route and sort of explain some of the elements of Pokemon Yellow speedrunning and talk about some different route changes as they come up. So here we go. Yeah, so Yellow is a different category from Red and Blue for many reasons. A lot of the fights are different. Yellow introduces a lot of like plot elements from the anime to change different trainers and different gym leaders. You also start with Pikachu instead of starting between like Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle. So there's a lot of differences, enough to make it like a unique category. So they're separated from leaderboards. So the first thing we do is we set our tech speed to fastest for obvious reasons. We changed our battle style to set because we don't want it asking us, do you want to switch Pokemon every time we feint something, and animations off, because move animations are just slower than animations off for most moves. We also named ourselves and our rival one character names A, and that's because every time your name prints, the game prints text at 1 frame per character. So the longer your name is, the more time it takes to print, and naming yourself the shortest amount of characters, 1, just saves a lot of time throughout the run. So we're going to be doing that for a couple different things as well, but for the start, just ourselves and our rival. Yeah. So first thing first, we're going to do the Oak cutscene where we encounter the Pikachu. Nothing too crazy here. And then we're going to enter the Eevee battle. So a couple things about this route. I think the route has even changed since I've gotten this record, but at the time of this recording, you are forced to win this Eevee battle. And that's because this Eevee battle influences what evolution the Eevee turns into in the late game. It's kind of interesting. Yellow uses this battle and the other optional rival battle is sort of like a difficulty scale. So the idea is if you lose the rival battle, the game sort of goes into quote unquote easy mode and gives you Vaporeon because Vaporeon is weak to Pikachu. If you go neutral, if you like win only one battle, it gives you Flareon, which is sort of neutral for Pikachu. And if you win both battles, which we don't fight both battles, but if you do win both battles, it gives you Jolteon, which is like resistant to Pikachu. For the speedrun, we have to win this battle. I think that's changed. I think you can win or lose and it's fine. But at this point, we're forced to win the battle. Eevee has tail up and tackle. If it tail ups, it basically two-shots us, so it's a little bit scary, but we do win the battle, and that's that. Not really too much time to save here. You can get like good fights if you crit a few times or fully paralyzed a few times, but just like winning the battle, it's not that slow. Yep. You'll notice that Pikachu is going to follow us in the overworld. Every time you walk through Pikachu, I don't have an input display unfortunately, but I'm going to be holding B every time I have to walk through Pikachu because that avoids bonking into him. Otherwise, I would like turn and bonk into Pikachu, which is like 2 frames every time that happens. So that's like one thing that happens as I walk down past Pikachu toward the exit. I also get 0 encounters for the first passive route 1. We don't need to fight any encounters for experience, so we really are just hoping for as few encounters as possible. I think the average number of encounters is close to 3, but hopefully like we're looking for better than average starts because I reset a lot of early games if they have like 3 or more encounters probably. So getting no encounters on the way up is very, very good. It's around like 20% chance to get no encounters on the way up. So it's a pretty good start. On the way down, I'm gonna hop over the ledge into this one grass tile. That Hop into ledge doesn't produce an encounter. It's just something I do for fun. It doesn't really mean anything. But there's no extra encounter chance I do by doing that. I'm also going to talk to Oak from behind, and this is because of a few reasons. The main one is that the rival walks at a slower pace than we do. So you can see as the rival walks on screen, he walks slower than we do. And so by walking behind Oak, we move the entire screen up. So the rival spawns on screen later and walks fewer tiles to Oak and off screen again. The main reason why we don't talk to Oak from the side is because Pikachu gets in the way of the rival and has a little cutscene when the rival like pushes Pikachu out of the way. So behind Oak is just the fastest way to do this cutscene. Here I'm going to hold B again to walk through Pikachu, and that's the end of this cutscene. So one last pass through Route 1. Again, it's around 20% chance to get 0 encounters. The average per pass is like 1.5-ish. So here I get the first encounter. It is a Pidgey. Pidgeys are the fastest encounter just because the cry is the shortest in the game. Right, Oak? No, please. And 1 encounter. So that's very, very good. I normally probably take every run that's like 2 encounters or less. 3 encounters, it might depend on how good the opening battle was. So this is a very good start. I'm going to buy 2 Pokeballs for 2 Pokemon we're going to catch, and 5 potions here that we're going to be using throughout the run. So one difference between red and blue and yellow is that we go to find Nidoran on Route 2 instead of Route 23. We can find level 6 Nidorans on Route 2, which are higher level than the Nidorans you can find in red and blue. So that's where we're going to do our catch our Nidoran. So we're going to walk to Route 2, and we're going to do a save and quit. And I'm going to pause the video here and sort of explain what's going on. But by saving and quitting the game, we can reset our RNG to basically a predictable state, so that if we save and quit and do a hard reset and do the same exact actions every time, we will get very, very similar outcomes. So in this case, we're doing a save and quit manipulation. We're going to buffer through the intro and walk a certain path in the overworld, and it's going to give us a level 6 Nidoran encounter, hopefully with very good stats. And it should get in the ball if we do it correctly. So we're going to clear the intro perfectly, which is not hard if you know how to do it. We're going to walk a certain path here, and then we get an encounter. So if I do this perfectly here, this Nidoran should get in the Pokeball first try. And we got it. Cool. So this Nidoran has very, very good stats. I'm going to name it one character, nickname it A, because we're going to be using it a lot during the run. Let's see. I don't remember if this gets extended. It does not. So if I did clear those text boxes perfectly, there's a chance I could have walked through the grass on the left side and then talked to this trainer from above, which saves like 2 or 3 seconds. But it's definitely not necessary for this run for me to get extended. It's just if you clear the text boxes perfectly, you can go for it. This Caterpie fight, I believe we leer once and tackle until it dies. Tackle in this generation is a 95% accurate move. So every time it misses, it's kind of sad. I think it's also a range to die in 4 tackles, which is kind of annoying. We'll see if I get the range. I don't think I do, just based on the damage rolls. Yeah, missed the range. It's not a very good range, I think. But I don't remember off the top of my head. Of course, I crit the last hit. Nice. And then this Caterpie we leer twice and then tackle. I think this one is a better range to die. Also by leering and only going for 3 tackles, I think we're required to use fewer tackles, which is a 95% accurate move, so less chance for us to miss. One thing I want to note is that there's something in Gen 1, like a quirk, where enemy status moves have an extra 25% chance to miss. So, for example, a move like Tilt or Growl is 100% accurate in Gen 1, but if an opponent uses it against us, it's only 75% accurate. So this applies to moves like String Shot, which is why you're going to be seeing String Shot miss a lot more than it should. I think String Shot is like 90 or 95% in Gen 1, but it's when the enemy uses it, it's closer to like 70%. So here we're gonna walk through some grass tiles. I think the force encounter rate is like 25%. Thankfully, we get really lucky and get no encounters during that patch, so this is a very, very good run. Also, we're fighting these trainers because we want to try to get double kick for Nidoran before Brock. Otherwise, we don't have a good way of beating Brock without double kick. This fight is really, really annoying. This trainer has a Metapod which knows Harden. If we get String Shot, which we did, we got String Shot twice by the Caterpie, we are slower than the Metapod. And if the Metapod uses Harden before we have time to set up moves, the fight can drag on for like a really, really long time. Like the best case scenario is that we leer once and then we Horn Attack twice. But because we got Harden here, we have to leer it again. And we're just really hoping for as few Hardens as possible. So here we get Tackle, which is very good. And we're just hoping for anything other than Harden on this turn. We get Harden, that sucks. If I remember correctly, yeah, we crit, which is very, very nice. So it was a 2-shot, not a bad Metapod. It was a 4-turn. One the best is like a 3-turn. So here we're going to heal up for the next battle, and we're also going to do another save and quit. This is so that we get 0 encounters until the next trainer. And then at the very end, before the trainer, we're going to encounter a Pidgey, which we're going to frame perfectly, throw a Pokeball, and catch. And that's going to be our flyer for the run. Yeah, so we're going to walk a very specific path in Forest. Do a turn there, yep. And then we should get the Pidgey encounter. Yep, so if I do it perfectly, this Pidgey should get in. This is also the reason we only buy 2 Pokeballs to catch 2 things. So if I mess up any of these manips, it's just run over because I don't have any more Pokeballs. One interesting thing about this manip is that we got the encounter right in front of a hidden potion. So because we're loading back into the game and the game is transitioning between battle music and the Viridian Forest music, during this music transition, it overrides other jingles. So we can actually buffer A and pick up this potion. And normally there's a jingle that plays when you pick up this potion. It's like a 2.5 second jingle, but because the music is transitioning at this exact moment, we can skip the jingle and pick it up instantly. So it's a very, very cool manip that ends up getting that benefit. Developed by Stringflow, who has really transformed a lot of Gen 1 and 2 thanks to his manips. This Caterpie is arranged to die to Leer and 2 Horn Attacks. There is a strategy where you can Horn Attack 3 times, but I am trying to save as many Horn Attacks as possible. So I don't get the range with 2 Horn Attacks and I'm forced to tackle it, which is not too big of a deal. I end the fight at 25 HP, which is very nice because that means I get to skip healing before the next trainer. So this is a very good force so far, 0 encounters. Yeah, so no encounter forest is very, very, very good. Like no encounter forest, I didn't get trolled too hard by the Metapod. This is like a fantastic start so far. So coming up, this next fight is a little bit scary. We still need more experience to get double kick for Brock. So we have to fight Brock's minion. We call him the light year guy because he talks about how we're light years away from beating Brock. The first Pokemon he has is a Diglett. The Diglett is a little bit scary because it only uses Scratch and it has a pretty high crit rate. And I'm ideally trying not to get crit. I'm at a very specific HP where if I don't get crit, I will have red bar exiting the fight. I also swap Horn Attack to slot 1 because we're going to be using Horn Attack more often, and I don't want to keep going to slot 3. I'll talk about red bar when I get it, but basically red bar is when your HP bar turns the color red. I accidentally used Tackle here. This is a mistake. At this point, I'm thinking it's run over because you're normally not supposed to tackle there. You're normally supposed to Leer twice and Horn Attack twice. But here, I'm just hoping that Tackle plus Horn Attack 3 times kills. I'm pretty sure it's like a ranged die. So I end up getting really lucky by winning. That's like a big mistake that happens in the run. But you can see like I'm at 1 HP and my HP bar is red. And there's a siren jingle that plays in the background. And what this jingle does is that it skips things like the death cry. So when Sandshrew faints, normally there's a death cry that plays, but it's skipped when you're in red bar. And also when you level up and learn moves, there's like a 2.5 second jingle that plays, but you can skip it while you're in red bar. So you can see like I'm gonna level up and I'm gonna learn double kick, and it's gonna happen basically back to back instead of waiting for level up. Wait, double kick, wait. So level up, double kick, and it instantly clears, and that's because I'm in red bar. So I got very, very lucky in this fight. So now I'm going to heal for Brock. What's up, Pinkish? So Brock fight is pretty interesting. The Geodude almost never dies to 1 double kick. It almost always takes 2. I think if you like 1 in 39 double kick crit, it can die, but most of the time you expect it to take 2 hits. The Geodude will only use Tackle, so you expect it to take like 6 damage here from the Geodude. Yeah, so even though I crit, it's still not going to die. Interesting, I didn't know. Yeah, so we fight the Geodude. So this Onyx is really, really troll in yellow. It has Tackle, it has Screech, it has Bide, and it has Bind. And Bind is the really, really scary move because the Onyx is faster than you, and Bind in Gen 1 is really, really broken. So it'll basically lock you out of the game for 2 to 5 turns where you just can't do anything. And since Onyx is faster than you, you can actually get binded back to back to back. So I'm really just hoping to avoid getting bind. So we get Tackle Miss turn 1, which is good. And we get Bide turn 2, which is basically a free win. Not a free win. I'm doing the strat, sorry. So there's a specific strat when you're at like 14 to 17 HP, something like that, where you're supposed to Leer twice and double kick twice, but if you're at this specific HP, you can Leer, double kick, Leer, double kick, and the reason is you're trying to play around this exact situation where you get Bide. Because you only did 1 Leer double kick worth of damage, you get sent to exactly red bar, and then you finish it off with the second double kick. So it's a pretty cool strat. Normally it's Leer, double kick, but because I had very specific HP where I could set up red bar, I was able to do the strategy and it worked out perfectly. So this was a very, very good split. I made a huge mistake on the light year guy by tackling instead of leering, but it didn't really end up mattering too much, thankfully. So 1547 Brock is a very, very good start. Yeah, so now we're on to Route 3. We are still in red bar. We have, I think, 5 HP at this point, and I want to try to keep red bar for as long as possible. So we'll see what happens in these fights. For the most part, we're just going to be I'm trying to save horn attacks, so I'm going to be double kicking or tackling stuff when I can. So I open with horn attack on the Caterpie, and I tackle here. One thing I want to note here is that There's something in Gen 1 called badge boosts, where certain badges will give you a passive stat boost to one of your stats. So for example, Brock will give you the attack badge boost. So after you beat Brock, you have a passive 12.5% boost to your attack stat. Surge gives you the defense stat, Koga gives you speed, Blaine gives you special. The thing is, Gen 1 is coded in such a way that every time your stats are recalculated, these badge boosts are sort of reapplied. So if I get hit with like a tail whip or a string shot or a screech or something like that, I'll get an extra 12.5% boost to my attack. I mean passive because normally after you beat Brock, your attack is always 12.5% higher unless you have some weird situation with like haze or full restores or stuff like that. But for the most part, without having to do anything, you will always have a 12.5% boost to your attack. But when you get hit with certain moves like string shot, tail whip, screech, stuff like that, you get an extra boost on top of that. And that matters, or that can matter in round 3 where certain stuff are ranges to die. And when I say ranges, I mean that in all generations of Pokemon, you never do a set amount of damage, unless you're using a move like Sonic Boom or something, obviously. But every time you do a damaging move, it rolls a random number, essentially between 1 and 39. And based on how high or low you roll, it does a range of damage that's like a 15-ish% range. So for example, instead of always doing 10 damage, you might do between 8 and 11 damage based on how much you roll. So sometimes during the route, things are not guaranteed to die. They might be a range to die, meaning you have to get decent rolls. But the more badge boosts you have, the more of those ranges you can eliminate. So I'll point those out where those apply. But I want to get that out of the way. So Horn Attack the Weedle, and we should be able to tackle this. Nope, made a mistake there. Accidentally open bag. Actually missed the tackle, which is pretty unfortunate. I'm still safe from the last Caterpie for now because I level up here. Leveling up also gets rid of your badge boosts. Any extra badge boosts you accumulate gets cleared out when you level up. And that Horn Attack roll was good enough for me to tackle. If I miss a tackle, there's a chance Caterpie kills me, but thankfully I didn't miss, so I have red bar. Coming up here, I actually make a pretty risky decision. This Rattata will die to a double kick, but it is 1 in 3 to use quick attack, and if I get quick attacked, my run is just over. The main reason I go for this is because I have very good red bar, and I'm trying to keep red bar for as long as possible. So thankfully, I just go for double kick, I don't get quick attacked, and I make it through. So this is a very good start. The Ekans has Poison Sting, Wrap, and Leer. I get the crit on Horn Attack, which is good. That means it's guaranteed to die to another hit. I get Poison Sting, and then I double kick here, which is a mistake. The reason I use double kick is because there's 2 types of animations when your animations are off, which is kind of a weird thing to say. But when your animations are off, a move can either flash, which is you use a move and the Pokemon sprite flashes a few times, or it's a shake move, which means you use the move and the screen shakes a little bit. And the shake animation is like a second faster than the flash animation, so we want to use as many of these shake animations as possible. So Horn Attack is a shake move, so Horn Attack is a flash move, Tackle is a flash move, but Double Kick is a shake move. So if possible, I want to finish things off with Double Kick because it's around a second faster. However, I underestimate how much damage my Double Kick does, and it doesn't die in 1 kick. So because it takes 2 kicks of the double kick for it to kill, it ends up being slower than if I used Horn Attack or Tackle. So I end up losing a little bit of time here, but I do have really, really good red bar. So this was, even with the mistake, this is a very, very good fight. And I still have red bar for the next couple fights. This Weedle is also a range to die to Horn Attack, meaning if I get unlucky with the roll, it might not die, but I get the range, so we're fine. Same with this Kakuna, has a chance, depending on this roll, to die to Tackle or Horn Attack. Thankfully, I get the roll. I get a really good roll on Horn Attack, so I'm able to tackle the finish and save another Horn Attack. The crit there doesn't really matter. Here, the Caterpie will only die to a crit, otherwise it'll live. and I can double kick this. And now the Metapod only knows Harden, so I'm perfectly safe here, and it should die to 2 horn attacks. So even though I'm at 1 HP, I'm going to level up here to level 16. I get the red bar level up where I skip the Jingle, and then I'm going to evolve into Nidorino, which gives me enough HP for the rest of the route. So this was a very, very good Route 3 so far, where I had basically good red bar for both the Short Sky and this Bug Catcher. Yep, yellow, there's no such thing as bad level ups. So Caterpie, we're going to Horn Attack. The Caterpie can't kill us at this HP even if it crits. And because we did enough damage with Horn Attack, we get to double kick and finish it off, which is faster than using Tackle or Horn Attack again. Also, that String Shot that we got hit with gives us an extra badge boost, which lets us do a little bit more damage to Metapod, which doesn't really matter, but it's just another example of badge boosts coming into play. So this is... So first we have to go walk behind this girl. There's 5 grass tiles, which means there's 2 chances for encounters, because after you get an encounter in Gen 1, you have 2 steps of leeway. And it's kind of a funny moment because at this point there's 2 routes that I could have gone with. And this is something that I was considering doing at the time. One route, which is the standard route, is just the normal Horn Attack route. So from here, the normal route is you go into the Pokemon Center, we deposit Pikachu, we take the Pokemon Center to heal to full HP, and restore our Horn Attack counts, and yeah, that gives us enough HP and Horn Attacks to get through the rest of Mount Moon and Nugget Bridge. That's the main route. However, the second route is that we skip taking the Pokemon Center, we pick up Mega Punch, and we try to stay in red bar for as long as possible and use Mega Punch to basically abuse the fact that we're in red bar and to try to take fights that normally it might take 2 turns with Horn Attack, but we might be able to get a 1-turn fight with Mega Punch. That route is obviously a lot riskier because you have to land Mega Punches, which is an 85% accurate move. So at this point, during my world record grind, or not really world record grind, but during my yellow grind, I had been flexing Mega Punch and Horn Attack strategies based on my situation. So this was a really, really good situation to try to go for Mega Punch because I was already very low HP and I saved a ton of Horn Attacks on Route 3 because I had a lot of good ranges that I hit and I crit a couple times. So it was a very good situation for me to go for Mega Punch. However, I decided that this time was just too good to give up because the Mega Punch route is so much riskier than the Horn Attack route. Basically, I decided that this was too good to give up, so I just went for the normal route. But that was something I was considering at the time, is going for the Mega Punch route, but I decided against it because this run was so good. Thank you for the raid, Collinator. Yeah, so I'm going to deposit Pikachu here. A couple reasons for that. Pikachu, if he remains in your party, he ends up causing a couple cutscenes which just are just too slow, and it's just faster to deposit Pikachu. So goodbye, Pikachu. Thanks, Ganja. So now we're gonna do another save and quit here, and we're going to save and quit and manipulate no encounters for the entirety of Mount Moon. This manip is very, very good. It's developed by Stringflow, who's an amazing Pokemon router / programmer. This manip is 98% likely to work, which is really, really insane. It's a really fantastic manip. Yeah, so if I do the manip perfectly, I should get 0 encounters all the way through. All the way through Mount Moon. So I pick up the rare candy there. I'm walking on very specific tiles in order to execute the manip. However, one thing I actually do is I make a mistake in the manip, and I turn a little bit early and mess up the manip. So at this point, the manip is messed up. However, there's a small chance that the manip will still work depending on how badly you mess up. So I'm hoping that this I didn't mess up the manip badly enough at this point because I didn't get an encounter yet. I'm pretty sure that the manip will be fine because normally when you mess up, the failure happens right away. But that is something that could have just killed the run, is messing up that movement there. How long did it take String to make it? I'm not sure. Took him a while, I think. But yeah, I definitely had like a pretty good chance of like that run just dying. But thankfully I just got lucky enough that that mistake didn't matter. So I make it all into the rocket, and then we're going to use the Moonstone that we just picked up to turn into Nidoking. And Nidoking is very, 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 very good in Gen 1. It has good stats, it has like an insane learn set, and the fact that we have access to something that is like a third stage Pokemon this early means that we can sort of just destroy a lot of the early mid game. Yeah, so this fight is pretty easy. Because we have Nidoking, things just die into hits. We two-shot the Grimer. This Grimer does have Disable, and ideally we don't want to get Disable Horn Attack. Thankfully it disables Leer, which is fine. And it undisables right away. And then we use Double Kick to finish Grimer because, again, the Shake animation of Double Kick is faster than the Flash animation of Horn Attack. And you can see that with the Voltorb here. The Voltorb just flashed because we used Horn Attack. And then we're going to use Double Kick, which shakes the screen right there, and that's faster. For the coughing, it is a range to die to 2 horn attacks. This one's like pretty favorable, I think, but good thing I crit it, so now it's guaranteed to die to 2 horn attacks. But it wasn't guaranteed to die. It's like I want to say it's like a 70-ish% chance to die, but I'm not positive on that number. So that was a good fight, because we crit the coughing and two-shot it. And now I'm just hoping for no encounters between now and the next battle. Unfortunately, we do get an encounter, which does suck. Get a Clefairy. And we just run away. Yeah. So now we make it to the next fight, and this is a fight that doesn't exist in Red and Blue. Jesse and James appears throughout the run as sort of like instead of like regular Rocket trainers, we get Jesse and James to sort of mimic the anime. So the Ekans has Wrap, and we're really just hoping we don't get Wrap here. It has Leer, Poison Sting, and Wrap. Thankfully we get Leer, so we're good. Wrap is definitely the worst case scenario there. And then we one-shot the Meowth with a Double Kick, which always dies. And then the coughing is a really, really bad range to die to 2 horn attacks. Most of the time it takes 3 moves to kill. But if I remember correctly, we crit it. So we crit both coughings, which is really, really nice. Yeah, crit one-shots the Meowth if you don't crit the Double Kick. Yeah, so two-shotting both coughings is really, really, really good. And the fact that I didn't get wrapped by the Ekans. So other than the one encounter I got, this was a very, very good moon. So you can see, like, even though I got the encounter, I still only lost 6 seconds to world record and only 2 seconds to my target. So getting both crits there was really nice. Not even 25 moon? You're right. But yeah, 26-15 moon is, like, very, very good. I think it's like my best moon time by far in yellow. So now we're going to go and pick up the Hidden Rare Candy, which we're going to use a little bit later, and then get ready for the rival fight, which is pretty annoying. So this rival fight is really annoying for a few reasons. I'll talk about each reason as they come up, but the first is that the rival leads a Spearow, and the Spearow has Growl, and it's really, really, really annoying to get growled here, because it just makes the rest of the fight really, really slow. So we're really hoping for Peck or Leer or Growl fail. It can also Fury attack, which is slow, but that's like okay, that's better than Growl for sure. But we Horn attack, and we get Peck, so that's very good. So that's a very, very good Spearow. So now we have to fight the Sandshrew. The Sandshrew does not normally die to 2 Horn attacks. It normally takes 3 turns, and it has Sand attack. So we really don't want to see Sand attack because Sand attack is really, really broken in Gen 1, and we see it right away. So now instead of Horn attack being 100% accurate, it's now 66% accurate. We get Sand attacked again, which is really terrible. So now our accuracy is down to 50%. Sand attacked again, so now our accuracy is down to, I think, at 33% at this point. So 33 or 40, I think it's 40%, something like that. It's really, really bad. So right now I'm just like really upset. I had a really good moon time. Thankfully I get the hit on the rat, and the rat dies. This Eevee also has Sand attack. It has Growl. Thankfully the Growl fails. We get Sand attacked again, so I think our accuracy is at, it's like 25%, but we managed to hit through somehow. So despite getting like, this was a bad fight, but it wasn't like run killing. But I definitely lost like 20 to 30 seconds on this fight alone. It was not a good fight. If I just got scratched by the Sandshrew, then this fight would have been like completely fine. But because I got so many Sand attacks, it was like pretty terrible. So yeah, so this was that fight turned this run into an amazing run into like just like an average like good run. So that really, really cost me a lot of time. I think this was like, this might have been my worst split in this entire run. I'm trying to think if there was a split that was worse than this, but I think this is it. I don't think this Caterpie ever dies. Actually, maybe it dies to a Horn attack. I don't remember. Champ wasn't that bad. Only 1 Hypnosis. No, it's just 1. Yeah, so Nugget Bridge is mostly pretty straightforward. We're just going to be using Horn attack or double kick to finish things off. This Pidgey does have Sand attack, so we're hoping to not see it here. Thankfully, we get Quick Attack, which means that because we're normally faster, we're never going to see Sand attack here. I think it's a range, and we get the range. And then we Horn attack the Nidoran twice. Or we crit it. Normally it takes 2 hits to kill, but critting there is very good. It saves a turn. So it makes this bad Nugget Bridge split slightly better. So this fight, it's pretty straightforward. The Rattata will always die to a double kick. It is a range for the seconds to die. I think it's like a 50% range, which is not good at all. And it does have wrap, but we're hoping to not see wrap if we miss the range. And we get the range, so we're fine. And then the Zubat is guaranteed to die to a Horn attack. So after the Zubat, we level to level 21. And then we're going to use the 2 rare candies we picked up, 1 in Mount Moon and 1 in Cerulean behind the house. And we're going to level to 23 and learn Thrash. And Thrash is really, really broken in Gen 1. It has, I think, 90 power. It lasts between 3 and 4 turns. And it only uses 1 PP per 3 or 4 turn use. So it's like a very, very powerful move that we get access to this early on. And it just sweeps like from here until like most of the mid game is over. So we're going to Thrash the Pidgey, which is now, it's always going to die. We're also going to swap Thrash to slot 1 because we're going to use Thrash a lot more, and we don't want to keep having to scroll from slot 1 to slot 2 every time we use it. We get Quick Attack was a little bit troll, a couple seconds that we lose there. This Nidoran female is also a range. Yeah, I missed the range. Nice. It's like pretty unlikely for it to live. I think it's like something like 5 out of 39 for it to live. So it's like close to like 85% chance to die, and it just lives. So it's a little bit troll, but Thankfully, it uses Tackle or Scratch, which is a pretty fast move. That Nidoran female has Double Kick, and Double Kick is really, really slow. Um, Mankey, we're just going to Thrash, and it's going to die in one hit. Pretty simple fight. And then last trainer on Nugget Bridge. This fight's also pretty simple. We just Thrash and one-shot it. I might fast forward a little bit because these fights are all pretty straightforward. Yeah, also you can see how much time I'm losing to my target and to world record. My target, 7 flat bridge, is like, I think it's, if I remember correctly, it's like on the better side of average, but not like great. And you can definitely see how much time I'm losing. Yeah, so I lost almost 20 seconds to the world record and 12 seconds to my splits. So here we're going to pick up Charmander, and Charmander is going to be one of our HM Pokemon that's going to be used for cut and dig. It's faster to pick up this Charmander than it is to find and weaken or find and like manipulate an encounter like Sandshrew. So Charmander is just the fastest way for us to get access to a cut and dig Pokemon. Actually, this fight's worth keeping in. Yeah, it's a big friend. So this trainer has an Onyx. The Onyx normally takes 2 double kicks to kill, and it has Wrap. But we actually crit it and kill it, which is really, really amazing. Because even if we crit it, it's not even likely to die. I think it's like 50% chance to die even if you crit it. So not only did we crit it, but we got the range. So that was like a really, really good start to this split, is critting the Onyx. Next few fights are, I'm going to skip through. This fight, we just Thrash. Both are guaranteed to die. We Thrash this fight. It's guaranteed to one-shot both. And then we Thrash this fight, which is guaranteed to kill everything. So these fights are all like very straightforward. Just Thrash and everything dies. So now we're going to talk to Bill. The Bill cutscene is one area where it's obvious, again, where Pikachu loses time. There's like this whole cutscene that plays when Bill is a Pokemon, where Pikachu like sort of circles around Bill and is like, oh, what is this guy? Is he like a Pokemon? So by depositing Pikachu, we can eliminate that cutscene. Also, Pikachu sucks. So unlike Red and Blue, we're unable to dig out of this house, which is partially why like we didn't take the center before fighting the bridge rival, because it doesn't matter if we set our waypoint there, we have to walk back anyway. So we're gonna walk back and take the center before Misty. There's a few strategies we can use here. If your HP is high enough, you can actually do Misty first before centering, and this gives you a better chance to survive Surge, because you want to have pretty high HP entering Surge to live. However, I don't have high enough HP for this, so the normal strategy is just take the center before Misty. So we take the center here. So this sets our waypoint to Cerulean when we need to dig back here later. And then we're going to go fight Misty. So far, this is a pretty good split, only because we one-shot the Onyx. That's like the only real RNG in this split so far. This trainer only has 1 Pokemon. It's Goldeen. It doesn't die to Thrash unless you critical, and it has Peck, Tail Whip, and Supersonic. And we really just don't want to see Supersonic because getting confused is really, really slow, and you can hit yourself a bunch of times. It's really, really bad. But we get Supersonic fail, so everything's fine. So now we get to Misty, which is one of the scarier fights of the run. At least in the early game, it's like pretty likely. Actually, it's not that likely to kill you. It's only like 10-ish% to kill you, but it can be very, very troll, and you can lose a lot of runs here. But it's normally a pretty it's usually a pretty good fight. So the Staryu will always die to Thrash. And then the Starmie is a 2-shot normally. The Starmie has Bubble Beam, which can speed fall and make it faster than us. But thankfully we just get Water Gun, so the fight is very good. So ideally we want to be as high HP as possible entering Surge, and 59 is very good HP because it means that we have a lot of safety entering the fight and we're still on pretty good pace. So you can see here I saved like 13 seconds on world record and like 9 seconds on target, and that's mainly because of the of critting the Onyx. The crit on Onyx saves like that much time. So now we're going to go and fight the Dig Rocket. And because we're level 26, Thrash will just one-shot the Machop and Drowsy. And this is sort of one difference that is between this game and Red in terms of the routing. In Red, you're forced to fight this trainer earlier, and so Thrash is arranged to kill both of these. But because, we're level 25 on Machop and 26 on Drowsy, both of these just die in one hit, guaranteed. So it's just a very simple fight. Yep. Kind of a useless crit, doesn't really matter too much. So afterwards he gives us the Dig TM, which we're going to be using as a way to get around the map and sort of escape out of certain buildings and make our way to Vermilion. One thing you're going to note here, and this goes back to what I talked about with the potion jingle skip in Viridian Forest, how when the map was transitioning, we were able to pick up that potion and skip the jingle that plays when we pick up an item. We're going to do the same exact thing with this forest door. We're going to take one step out of this map and pick up the item, and we're going to pick it up without having the jingle play, and that's because it happens at the same time that music is transitioning between routes, so we're able to skip that jingle that way. Pretty fun trick. We're going to walk through some grass. Hopefully we don't get encounters. It's roughly 10% per grass tile, and thankfully we don't get any encounters. So this fight, it just consists of 3 Pidgeys, which all die to Thrash. The only thing is that each Pidgey is 1 in 3 to use Quick Attack. And Quick Attack is just, we're not really worried too much about the HP, but Quick Attack itself is just a little bit slow. It takes like 2 to 3 seconds for the Pidgey to use its move. So we want to try to get as few Quick Attacks as possible for the fastest fights. So far, 0 out of 2 used Quick Attack, and then this one used it, so we're 1 out of 3 for Quick Attacks. And there's 5 things total that can Quick Attack us this split. So far we're 1 out of 3. Next fight's also going to be simple. We're just going to Thrash and one-shot everything. And the Raticate that this trainer has Quick Attack. I think it's also 1 in 3. It might be 1 in 4. I want to say 1 in 4 to use Quick Attack. I think it has like Tackle, Quick Attack, Hyper Fang, Tail Whip, something like that. But we don't get it. So that's 1 out of 4 Quick Attacks, which is pretty good so far. And again, we still have pretty good HP entering Surge. So now we're in Vermilion. We're going to go to the shop, and we're going to do our first menu. We're going to buy 3 repels. Or we're going to sell Bide. We're going to sell our Nugget. And then we're going to buy 3 repels. And that's it. We're going to buy the most of our items and sell it on when we get there, and all we need for now is just the repels. So now we're getting on the SSN to get cut. And coming up is one of the easiest fights in the game. Also, we're going to take our time to teach Bubble Beam to Nidoking. Hold on. Oh, yeah, what's up? We're gonna have to say something. That's awkward. I might loop. I might fix this later, but yeah, we teach Bubble Beam Nuking, which is good for coverage, and then teach Dig right now to Charmander. Bubble Beam is going to be useful to take out, you know, Rock and Ground type Pokemon like the Sandshrew coming up. But yeah, this fight is one of the easiest fights in the entire game. We basically one-shot everything. Very, very good. The only thing is that you really don't want to Thrash this fight. For the past like 7 or 8 fights, we've just been thrashing and one-shotting everything. And this is one fight where you just don't want to Thrash. It's just really, really terrible. So the first thing I'd send out is Spearow, which we're going to... I think we Horn Attack this, if I remember. Yeah. So it dies to Horn Attack. If you Thrash this, it dies to Thrash. So you might think, oh, this is fine. You level up here, and then the Pidgey gets sent out. Or the Rat, sorry. And we Bubble Beam the Rat. But if you had Thrash, the Rat will die to Thrash. So you're thinking, oh, it's fine. And then Sandshrew gets sent out, and your Thrash does like half damage. And it doesn't die, and the Sandshrew has Sand Attack, and it has Slash, and it's just really, really scary. So you just don't want to deal with that. This Eevee does die. It takes 2 kicks to kill it. If you crit it, it takes 1, but it's not a big deal. But if you choose the right moves and don't do something called Gen 1 Mist, then you're guaranteed to win the fight. And that's something I didn't really talk about. I have some time now. But in Gen 1, the way accuracy is calculated is that there is a 1 in 256 chance that your move misses because they basically forgot an equal sign in the accuracy check. So even if your move is 100% accurate, there's still like a 0.4% chance your move will just miss. Because our name is short enough, we had a 1-character name, A. When it said A got HM01, we were able to clear that text box before the jingle starts playing. So we're able to skip that jingle. But if we had a longer name, we would be unable to skip the jingle, and we would be forced to sit there for an extra like 2.5 seconds. So that's like another obvious reason why having a shorter name is better, is we were able to skip that jingle. But yeah, we'll probably see, we might see a Gen 1 Mist later in the run. We'll see if I remember correctly. But keep that in mind that every 100% accurate move we use has a 0.4% chance to miss. And it applies for opponent Pokemon as well. The Gen 1 special. Yeah, so now that we got cut, we're going to teach it right away to our Charmander and then enter Surge. And this is where the fun begins. So we're going to do a quick menu. I actually make a mistake there. I'm supposed to swap repels, not potions. So I'm going to have to fix that here. Not too big of a mistake. It probably cost me like 2 to 3 seconds, but still pretty annoying. So right there, I have to swap it again. Cut. And now we enter the Surge trash cans. So the thing is, out of these Surge trash cans, there are 15 cans total, and the first correct switch can only be in 1 out of 8 cans. So basically every other can. So in the first row it could be this one, the first one, the third one, the fifth one. Second row could be second or fourth, and then the final row could be first, third, or fifth. It could be in 1 out of 8 cans. And thanks to TI Kevin, we have a pretty optimized path to search for this first can. Now, depending on which first can we get, the second can can vary in percentages, and it could be as good as like 87 or 88% likely to get it, or as bad as like 50%. So we've talked, and we get really, really lucky and get the first can correct, which is basically the second best case. The first best case is you actually get, you check this and it's wrong, and then you check the second can, this one, and it's correct, and that's actually the fastest can. But this is the fastest that's the most likely. So here, it's like 87.5% likely to be in this top left can, and we get it. So that was very, very good. I've lost like so many runs to getting bad Surge cans where you just check over and over and you get wrong guesses over and over, and I've lost like so many runs that where you just lose like over a minute to cans, but thankfully like I get really good cans, so this is like looking very, very hopeful. Yeah, Surge in general is like a big killer of a lot of like good pace runs. You can just lose so much time to Surge. Now, the Surge fight itself is pretty scary. This Raichu is not guaranteed to die to 2 Thrash hits, so it can take up to 3 Thrash hits. Raichu has Thunderbolt, which is good because it does nothing. Surge can X-Speed, which is good because it does nothing. It can Growl, which is very bad because Growl makes it a 3 or even a 4 shot. It has Mega Kick, which does a lot of damage, and Mega Punch, which does a lot of damage. So that's the main reason we want to be high HP, is because we want to be able to survive hits if we get hit with a Mega Kick or a Mega Punch. So we'll see how this fight goes. So I open with Thrash, and we get X-Speed, which is fine. So Thrash, first hit, not a great roll. So I get Mega Punched here. So I'm down at 30 HP. I Thrash and miss the range, and at this point, I'm only dead to a critical. So if I get hit with Mega Punch, I'm fine. If I get hit with Mega Kick, I'm fine. I'm only dead if it crits. I get Mega Kick, and at this point, I know, based on the damage rolls, I'm guaranteed to live unless it crits. And if I live, I'm going to be in very good red bars. So I'm just hoping, please don't crit, and 3 HP. Perfect red bar. So that was like an unbelievably good Surge fight. Even though I missed the range, getting red bar is like really, really good. I had good trash cans and good red bar. Like the thing about yellow is that yellow is not yet to a point where red bar is mandatory for the fly split. A lot of good yellow runs actually don't have red bar for the fly split because of how much safety you have entering Surge and how much worse red bar is compared to red and blue. Like in yellow, red bar just doesn't save as much time as it does in those other games, so it's not usually worth it to force red bar. But for me, I started out at 61 HP and ended up with red bar, and I'm gonna save so much time over my target and world record if everything goes well, because neither target nor world record have red bar in consideration, and it can save like 20 to 30 seconds if everything goes perfectly. So this is like shaping out to be like an insane run because of that sequence, because of the good Surge cans and the good Surge fight, and that really what like makes this run good, is that split. So afterwards, we're gonna go to the Pokemon fan club and talk to the president. We're gonna get the bike voucher. He talks for a while about Rapidash. He's really into it, I guess. So unlike red and blue, you can actually dig out of this house directly back to Cerulean, but they fixed that in yellow and changed the tile set. So now we have to actually walk into the closest diggable area, which is Diglett's Cave. So we take the short walk into Diglett's Cave, and then we just dig out from there. Yep. So now we're going to get our bike voucher and begin the fly splits. Of course, we want to get the bike as soon as possible because the bike is the fastest way for us to travel around. So we're going to swap the bike to the top of our menu and then teach Thunderbolt. And of course, this is like another broken special move that Nidoking can somehow learn. So now we have like Bubble Beam, we have Thunderbolt. We're going to teach it like Ice Beam later. It's just like Nidoking has so many insane moves. So we're going to cut through these bushes and make our way towards Rock Tunnel. Yeah, so this girl, we call her the Fortune Thrash Girl, and that's because it's like one of the few fights in the game where you're forced to land a Fortune Thrash. So again, Thrash can last between 3 and 4 turns, and it's like a 50-50 whether or not it lasts 3 turns or 4 turns. If it lasts 3 turns, you're confused, and then it's a 50-50% chance to hit yourself. So because this trainer has 4 Pokemon, it's basically a 75% chance to win, where either you get a Fortune Thrash or you get a 3-turn Thrash and don't hit yourself. So I'm really hoping that we get that 75%. So we faint the Oddish, the Bellsprout, another Oddish. And again, because we're in red bar, we're saving time on every single Pokemon that we kill. Also every level up. So we're just going to... And we get the Fortune Thrash here. So very, very good start. So next trainer... this trainer also has 3 Pokemon, but we're not going to be thrashing right away, if I remember correctly. And that's because this guy's 3rd Pokemon is a Venonat, which is a ranged to die to Thrash, which means it might not die if I get unlucky with the roll. So we Bubble Beam the Caterpie, and we start thrashing from the Weedle. Just in case we miss the range, we don't need a 4-turn Thrash to continue. So if I started thrashing on Caterpie turn 1, Weedle turn 2, Venonat turn 3, and I missed the range, if I only had a 3-turn Thrash, I'd be confused, and that's really, really scary. So it's just safer to start thrashing 1 turn later so that we can get a 3 or a 4-turn Thrash, and we are still fine even if we miss the Venonat range. So thankfully we got the range, so it didn't matter. We're good. So now we're going to enter Rock Tunnel. We're going to repel inside Tunnel. And then make our way to fight some of the trainers. Rock Tunnel is not that hard in this game compared to like Biking in the Dark and other games, because we can still see where the walls are, and you can sort of infer your position based on where the screen is relative to the walls. So it's not that hard to get good at Rock Tunnel. It just takes some practice, but it's definitely like not that hard if you just do it a few times. Yeah. But there we Bubble Beam and Thunderbolt, the Cubone and Slowpoke respectively. Those always die, so no real danger here. And then we Thunderbolt the Slowpoke. Also, one thing I didn't notice is a note that is we had another level up after the Cubone, and that's like another couple seconds that we're saving because we're in red bar, and that normally we wouldn't save. So just every time we level up, every Pokemon we fight, we're just saving time over target and world record. So this fight is by far the scariest fight in Rock Tunnel. This Oddish that comes up has a lot of scary moves. It has Absorb and Poison Powder, which are fine, but it also has Sleep Powder, which is really, really bad, and Stun Spore. The problem is our only status healing item is a full restore. If we get hit with Sleep Powder, we have no chance to heal. We're locked into Thrash. So Sleep Powder is basically instant death. And Stun Spore can be okay, but it's very, very slow because we do have our full restore, but that means we'd have to take time and full restore and level up, not level up, but heal out of red bar, so that's slow. Also, we'd have to heal from 9 HP to 97, so that takes a long time. And also, if we get Sleep Powdered or Stun Spored from there, it's very, very slow as well. So we really are just hoping to get the range because Thrash is only like a 46% chance to kill this Oddish. So we're really just hoping to just get the range and not give the Oddish a turn. So here we go. And we crit it. Amazing. So now we're through Oddish. This Bulbasaur is also a range. It's like an 80-ish% range, 87. I missed the range, but get Poison Powder, so it's fine. The Bulbasaur is not as bad to miss. It has like Growl, Poison Powder, Vine Whip, I think. And it's pretty rare for us to really like die to the Bulbasaur. So even though I missed the range, it was fine. So that was like a huge, huge barrier, and we just passed the Oddish. I think I only died a Vine Whip crit there. I don't think Vine Whip from Bulbasaur would kill me at 9. Just based on my knowledge of like the Ivysaur range from Red. Yeah, also one thing you'll see me do there is I actually used both repels before the previous one wore out. That's something that you can do in Gen 1. You don't have to wait for the repel to wear out to use the next one. And by overlapping your repels this way, it lets you skip the repel wears out text box. So it saves a text box every time you do it. So whenever we have repeating repels, we want to always overlap them a little bit. There's another level up, which is very good. And Bubble Beam just one-shots everything because the 4 times effectiveness on these Pokemon. Also, they have really bad special stat. It's just not even close. And then we Bike. This is pretty good movement. I think I bonked there. Wow, good timing. But for the most part, it was pretty clean. I didn't have that many bonks. And this fight is also pretty simple. It's just Thrash one-shots everything. The Pidgey does have Quick Attack, but there's no way that it kills us. Even if it crits, it's not even close. So Quick Attack would be a little bit slow, but it's not like a dangerous situation. Wow, we get it. Good meme. Yeah. So now we're out of Rock Tunnel. So this is very good. The fact that we got past Auto Scroll and we've had full red bar, this is like a very, 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 very good run so far. So now we only have one more trainer left on the split. The Gambler. This fight is a little bit scary because we have to Bubble Beam the Growlithe, and the Bubble Beam is a range. I believe this is like an 85% range to die. And the Growlithe has Bite and Ember, both of which kill me. But we get the range, so we're fine. The Vulpix also has Quick Attack, and I think Quick Attack crit would kill me here. But we don't get Quick Attack at all, so we're fine. So this could have been very scary, but thankfully we're through. And we are basically done with the Fly Split. We still have shopping left, but the fights are all done, and we had red bar the entire way. So this was a fantastic split so far. Like, considering how good the surge time was, the fact that I have full red bar is like making this run like absolutely insane. Here I'm going to pick up a hidden elixir in the tunnel. There's a couple different ways you can find it. The way I do it is if you look every time you bike, you see your foot going up and down as you pedal, and I can count those. 13 bike pedals is where I know where the elixir is. There's also like an audio key you can use that's pretty good. Yeah, there's a couple ways you can do it. It's not as hard as it looks. And now we're going to do the big shopping trip of every Pokemon speedrun. We're going to buy a bunch of items, starting with Horn Drill, which is a 1-hit KO move, which is absolutely broken in Gen 1. And then buy Super Repels and Super Potions. Oh, that was a big mistake. And then we're going to buy a Pokédoll to use in Pokemon Tower. You're going to see we're going to use like all of our money here. So now we're going to go to the rooftop. And this is actually the start of the biggest reroute of yellow that happened this past year, is that we used to use Blizzard, like the last world record that was not Pokeguys but was Gunner's old 154.01 that stood for like 2 years. That used Blizzard, and we used Blizzard for the longest time. But now we're getting Ice Beam, and Ice Beam is just a lot safer, and it even ends up being a little bit faster if you account for how much risk you're avoiding by using Ice Beam. So we're trading both drinks for Ice Beam and Rock Slide, and then picking up a Freshwater on the way out. And then we're going to buy our X items. We're going to buy X accuracies, X specials, X speeds, and X attacks. So a lot of different X items here. X speeds, X attacks, and X specials. So you're going to see we only have 174 left, which is not a lot of... You can't really buy anything for 174. I don't know, maybe like antidotes or something. I don't know if those are like 100 or 150, but we basically used up like all of our money. So it was a very efficient routing of the money. And then we're going to get the Fly HM. And you're going to see how much time, like, I definitely did not have great shopping. I wasted a lot of time, especially when I was buying Super Repels, but also just overall, my scrolls were not that good. But you can see how much time I save over my target and world record. Yeah, so I saved 15 seconds on world record, and I saved 10 seconds on target, and I have even more time saved in the next split because of the red bar. I'm going to do another menu here. The general concept with Gen 1 menus is that we want to swap important items that we're going to use a lot to the top of our bag, and then use items that are close to the bottom after we scroll there. So, for example, we're going to swap this Horn Drill TM to the top of our bag, and then we're going to teach Ice Beam or Rock Slide, and then go back to the top of our bag and use Horn Drill. So there, we swapped X accuracies to the top of our bag because we're going to use those a lot. We're going to swap like Super Pels to the top, super like X Specials. I'm going to swap a lot of stuff to the top, and I'll point it out as it happens. But overall, that was a very good menu. I didn't really miss a swap. It was clean for sure. So here's another slightly scary fight. We have to set up an X accuracy on the Fearow. The Fearow only has one attacking move out of 4, which is Fury Attack. Fury Attack is also like 85% accurate. So it's 1 in 4 to use and 85% accurate. But if it hits me, I'm dead. So I set up an X accuracy and Mirror Move. We're good. So after that X accuracy, this fight is not fully guaranteed. The Eevee does have Quick Attack. The Quick Attack does 7 to 9 damage. Sorry, it does 8 to 10, I think. Pretty sure it does 8 to 10. Yeah, 8 to 10. And I'm really hoping I don't get Quick Attack here. We get Quick Attack. At this point, I'm thinking, oh, my run's over. But it low rolls me for 8 damage specifically. So if it did any other roll, I would have died there. I think it's like less than like 1/3 chance to get the low roll, but I got the low roll there. So very, very lucky. Yeah, it was insane to actually get low rolled into 1 HP. And then there's only one more fight that I have to do while I have this red bar, and then after that, it's relatively safe. So one thing I've always said in yellow is that like it's never a run until heal pad. It's never a run until heal pad because there's like so many different ways for your run to die between like surge and heal pad, including this fight. So the reason why we have Rock Slide is for these Ghastlies only. We don't have a good way to one-shot these Ghastlies other than using Rock Slide, which is a 90% accurate move. If we miss, the Ghastlies have Lick, Nightshade, and Confuse Ray, all of which are very, very terrifying. Lick has a chance to paralyze us. Confuse Ray obviously confuses us and is very bad, and Nightshade would just kill us. But thankfully, we land both Rock Slides and we survive until heal pad. So at this point, I start getting a little bit hype. I'm thinking, oh my god, this is like, I think this is the best pace I've ever been on. It's definitely the best fly I've ever been on. And I actually get to play like the rest of the game because from here until Koga, it's relatively safe and it's very hard for your run to die. So I get to actually like play the mid game rather than dying to something on fly or surge or flute. So there's still 2 more rock slides I need to land, but if I miss the rock slide, it's not that big of a deal, just because it's very hard for me to die when I'm at full HP. The worst case scenario is getting Lick and getting paralyzed, because that means I would have to use my 4-star to heal the paralysis, and the 4-star is very, very valuable in yellow. So if possible, we want to try to avoid using it. So we land this rock slides, that's good. We have 1 more we need to land. Let's see if we land it. And we miss. We get Nightshade, thankfully, which is probably the best move for us to see. We don't want to see Lick or Confuse Ray, and we land the second one. So we did lose a little bit of time there to missing, but it's like the best miss we could have gotten, really. I guess Lick would have been slightly better, but Lick is just really scary because it's like 30% to paralyze or something crazy. So here we're going to use the Pokédoll on the Ghosts. This is actually a bit of a sequence break. The Pokédoll lets us escape any battle and marks as a victory. And this is actually something that is known to Game Freak There was like something that came out, I think last year, where like it was like records of some of the game testers as they were developing the game, and they even pointed out as like part of the developmental phase, you can use the Pokédoll to skip this Marowak. Um, so it's something that they knew about, so it's definitely intended, of course. So we get to skip the entire Rocket Underground section and avoid getting the Silph Scope, um, all for 1,000 gold, or money, whatever, so it's very nice. We set up an X accuracy. I guess one thing I didn't talk about before is that X accuracies in Gen 1 are really, really broken, and they're like this in Gen 2 as well. But they basically remove the concept of accuracy. So if you use an X attack, an X accuracy, you are unable to miss. So when you pair that with a move like Horn Drill, which will 1-hit KO if you're faster, means that we can set up an X accuracy, and as long as we're faster, we can just one-shot every single Pokemon. So it's really, really broken. We use it for this fight. We used it on the opening rival fight in Pokemon Tower, and we're going to be abusing it for the rest of the speedrun. And it's part of what makes Nidoking like really, really insane for Gen 1 speedruns. So overall, this was not a great split. I missed the Rock Slide, and that's basically it, actually. I missed the Rock Slide, but because I had Red Bar, even though I missed the Rock Slide, I still are basically even with target and world record. So I'm trying to think, was that it? I think Rock Slide was the only thing that really happened. So now we're gonna fly to Celadon and take the center. This is to restore our Horn Drill PP, but also to set our dig point back to Celadon. Celadon is a really good place for us to set our dig point because it's in the center of a lot of places where we're going to want to come back. We're going to come back eventually for Erica and also for Snorlax. We're going to come back because it's close to Saffron, so we'll be back here a few times. And now we're going to go into Silphco. Enter center. Rest in peace, Enter. I miss him. We're going to give the fresh water that we bought to the guard to get access to Saffron, and then enter Silphco. So this is one pretty big difference between the yellow and red routes, is that in yellow we're actually going to elevator directly to the 10th floor and fight an optional trainer in order to pick up 3 items that he's guarding. So we're going to find the optional trainer that we don't normally fight in red and blue, and we're going to pick up Carbos, an Earthquake TM, and a rare candy. I don't like claiming gentleman strats, but that's pretty funny. I am streaming. I decided to commentate my yellow run and knock them both out. So this Machoke, we set up an X accuracy and Horn Drill. Our goal for this split is to take as little damage as possible because we want to try to set up our HP for Koga, and we want to have pretty high HP. If we take too much damage, we're going to have to Super Potion at some point or even Full Restore, and that's really, really slow. So this Machoke has Leer, Low Kick, Karate Chop, and I think Focus Energy. And we really just want to see a non-damaging move. Karate Chop is the most damaging, and it has like a 70% chance to crit. So ideally, we'd like to avoid that. So we set up an X accuracy, and we get Leer. Perfect. That's a very good start to the split. Damageless Machoke is very good, and we one-shot it with Horn Drill. So now we're going to pick up this like treasure trove of items that this guy is guarding. We're going to pick up the Earthquake TM, which is something we're going to teach right away. We're going to pick up a rare candy, which we're going to use a little bit later. And we're going to pick up a Carbos, which we need to outspeed a few things. So we're going to do another menu here where we're going to swap Earthquake to the top of our menu, use Carbos, and then teach Earthquake. So if we didn't do that swap, we'd have to scroll to the bottom of our bag twice. We'd scroll all the way back to the bottom to use Earthquake. Using Earthquake would reset our cursor back to the top and then scroll all the way down to Carbos. But by doing the swap, we swap down once, and then we only have to scroll down a little bit after we swap Earthquake. So we Carbos there for the speed that we need, and then we teach Earthquake, which is really, really broken in Gen 1. It's a stab ground type move for Nidoking that is 100 power, so it's very, very good. And we're going to make use of it right away by one-shotting this Arbok. So at this point, the experience we need is very, very tight. We have just enough experience after this Arbok to get to level 34, which is very important. We absolutely need level 34 at this point, otherwise it's like very hard to continue the run. And then we're gonna use both of our rare candies right away while we swap up our X speeds to the top of our bag. So we're gonna swap X speeds to the top and then use candies. So candy twice, level 36, which gives us just enough speed to outspeed the Kadabra that's coming up from the rival fight. So again, this rival fight is not very difficult. It's a lot of these fights, it's going to be very hard for us to actually die, but we're just hoping that we don't get slow fights. So again, our goal is to take as little damage as possible, and we have to set up a turn on the Sand Slash. The Sand Slash has Sand Attack, it has Slash, and I'm actually not sure what else it has. I don't think it has Fury Attack yet. I think it has Swift. But we really just wanted to see Swift or Sand Attack. We don't want to take damage from Slash. Swift Poison Sting. Can't use Poison Sting, I see. Unfortunately, we get Slash, and because of the way crits work in Gen 1, crits are based on the Pokemon's base speed. So the faster the Pokemon is, the more likely it is to crit. And Sand Slash is fast enough that with Slash, it is basically guaranteed to crit us every time. So we get slashed, and we take 60 damage, which kind of sucks, but again, we're not in danger of dying. It just means we're going to have to take a heal later on, which is a little bit slow. But the rest of the fight is pretty simple. We just one-shot everything else. Thankfully, because of the level up and the Carbos we used, we have enough speed to outspeed the Kadabra. Otherwise, we would need to X-speed before. Thankfully, we don't need to X-speed, but we can just outspeed it normally. What's up, Cram? Yeah, so that's the first, the next major fight at least. So here we're going to pick up the last Pokemon that we need to finish the run. We're going to get the Lapras as a gift from this guy for rescuing him. The Lapras is going to be used to teach Surf and Strength. We don't bother nicknaming the Lapras because we don't use the Lapras enough for the nickname to save enough time. Because it takes more time to actually nickname than to say no. The thing is, for Nidoking and our trainer, their name prints out enough times for it to be worth it to take the extra time up front to nickname it, and then we save it for every time we get the name printed. For things like the Lapras and the Charmander, those names don't get printed enough for us to nickname those. So we don't nickname it. Anyway, we Earthquake all three of these Pokemon, which they are all guaranteed to die, so it's a very simple fight. Nothing really to mention here. Just that Nidoking is very broken with Earthquake. Yeah, so the last fight we have in Sylph is going to be Giovanni. This is a fight that's changed a couple times throughout the years. Before, we used to X attack and Earthquake things, and we used to have to risk like Persian using Growl, which is really scary. But thankfully, we routed a way for us to use X accuracies and sort of guarantee that we have a good fight no matter what. So this fight can be a little bit slow, but we're never guaranteed. We're never like gonna die or have like a terrible outcome, even if we get like growled, which is like one of the worst games. So we Earthquake Nidorino, which is guaranteed to die. And then we're going to Earthquake the Persian, which is not guaranteed to die. It's also faster than us, so if it growls here, it's not a big deal because we two-shot it anyway with the growl. But if we get Screech, the Screech again gives us the attack badge boost, and that badge boost is actually enough for us to one-shot it. So The best case scenario is we see like a random move or screech and then we just get the range. But the worst case is that we just like get growl, miss the range, or get like payday, which we do see. Payday is just the worst because it gives us an extra text box at the end where it says like you pick up coins. So we miss the range and then we Thunderbolt. We get guard spec from Persian, which is very fast. That's fine. And then we X accuracy on the Rhyhorn. We get Stomp, which is, not a big deal. And then we Horn Drill, Rhyhorn, and the Nidoqueen. The main reason we X accuracy is because even though we can one-shot the Rhyhorn, we don't have a good way to fight the Nidoqueen. Our Earthquake does not kill it, so we X accuracy and Horn Drill instead, and it's a good strategy. So because we got hit with the Slash, we got hit with Stomp, and we got hit with Payday, we're at 45 HP, so we're going to have to heal for Koga. So on the next menu, we're going to Super Potion, which is a little bit of time loss. Also, we get to dig out of this building, which is pretty cool. We don't have to walk out and like take the elevator. We can just dig straight out, which is nice. So we dig back to Celadon, which is a good central point, and then bike to Snorlax and eventually to Fuchsia. So here is a big menu coming up. We're going to Repel because we have some grass to go through, use an Elixir to recover some PP, use a Super Potion to recover some HP for Koga, and then use the Pokeflute. So pretty packed menu. Overall, it's a pretty decent menu. Pretty clean. I'm pretty happy with the execution. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but there's a lot of small tricks that speedrunners use to speed up the menus. And there's a lot of work that goes into like mechanically executing these menus. So it's like not really that obvious if you're not familiar with it, but these menus are not really that trivial to be fast at. So because we super repelled, we're going to go through some grass and pick up a hidden rare candy we're going to use later. And then that's it. We just bike down Cycling Road without an issue. Also here, Cycling Road, you automatically go down. You don't have to press any buttons. So it's like a pretty decent chance for you to like take a little bit of a stretch break, drink some water. You have like good 15, 20 seconds. Maybe not that much, only 15 seconds maybe. So after we enter Fuchsia, we're going to immediately get on our bike. And we're going to bike around to get to Safari Zone. I did know that, Thunder. In red and blue, it's actually faster if you cut through some of those bushes and go directly. But in yellow, there's too much menu lag, so cutting is actually slower than biking. So we don't do that. That's crazy. Yeah. So we're going to enter Safari Zone. We're going to immediately repel and get on our bike. And because we're so high level, because we do Silphco before Safari Zone, we were high enough level that we can't get any encounters. We outlevel everything in Safari Zone, so we're not at any risk of encounters. We're also going to pick up a 4-star here. Again, 4-stars are very, very valuable in yellow because the late game, there's like so much potential for you to take a lot of damage. It's very useful to have 4-stars. We're going to reapply our Repel before it wears out because we need an extra one to last the rest of Safari Zone. And we're good. The rest of this is just movement. Yeah, with the repels, there's a lot of leeway. You'll see like the repels don't wear out until we actually get to Koga's gym. We get the gold teeth, which we need to get the strength HM, and then we get surf from this guy. Yep, and then we dig out. A little bit of mistake there. I pressed up one few times and accidentally hit Lapras instead of Charmander. Not a big deal. Yeah, and then from here we bike back to Saffron. It's actually faster for us to like from Celadon. It's faster to bike to Sabrina's gym than it is to fly to Saffron and then bike from there by like a second or two, I think. So it's actually faster for us to do it this way. We did the teleport puzzle, which is Very, very easy once you know. It's just diagonal, diagonal down. And we fight Sabrina. And Sabrina is, I don't know if it's the only fight, but it's like one of the main fights where it's actually impossible for you to lose this fight if you play correctly. And that's because we set up an X accuracy and an X speed on an Abra, which only uses Flash or X defend, and then we one-shot everything. So it is impossible for us to Gen 1 miss. It is impossible for us to not kill something with a move. It's just if we use the right items and the right moves, we will win this fight no matter what. So we set up both items. We Earthquake the Abra, Earthquake the Kadabra, and we need the X speed in order to be faster than the Alakazam so that we can Horn Drill. And Earthquake actually does not kill Alakazam, so that's why Horn Drill is just needed here. So that's the freest fight in Gen 1. Or in yellow, at least. There's probably equally free fights in red, but in yellow, this is like by far the easiest fight. Yeah, so you can see it wasn't a great split. I lost time to world record and target, mainly because of the damage I took in Silphco and the super potion I had to use. Here, you see, like, I'm actually going to walk to a teleport pad and then use Dig. That's because when I use Dig on top of the teleport pad, it digs out of the building, but it gives me the teleport animation. So you can see I teleport out. If I were to just dig in front of Sabrina, which you are allowed to do, it will give you the slower dig animation where you just start slowly spinning in place. And it's actually faster for us to walk to the teleport pad, teleport once, and then dig out with the animation than it is to just dig in front of Sabrina. So that's why we do it. So after Sabrina, we're going to fly directly to Fuchsia. Do I bike here? I think I bike. Yeah. If you bike perfectly, it's actually like 2 frames faster than walking. So it's a little bit silly, but it is, you know, some time save if you're good at buffering the text box and the menus. The way this fight works is pretty interesting. We Earthquake the Drowsy, and because of the experience and the way it works out by doing Sabrina first, we level up and we have just enough attack in order for Thrash to one-shot this next Pokemon. I don't think it's this Drowsy. I think it's the next one that it's like tight. Maybe not. Maybe it's the last one. I know like something in this fight is like really, really tight in terms of the routing. Maybe not. I think it is. You have to be level 40. Maybe I'm just trolling. But like if you're not level 40 for this fight, Thrash does not one-shot the Drowsy, and it's really important that it does. In order for us to save Earthquake PP. So that fight is basically guaranteed. We don't really have to worry about ranges or anything. It's just everything dies if we don't Gen 1 miss. This Hypno on this trainer is a little bit troll. We can die, but it is very rare if we get hit with Confusion and it criticals. The gist of it is that this Drowsy is guaranteed to die to Earthquake, and the Hypno will only die to a critical. The Hypno has 2 moves which do nothing, being Disable and Poison Gas. It has Headbutt, which is fine, and Confusion, which is the worst move. So we really want to see anything other than Confusion. So we Earthquake. Best case scenario, we crit it, but we don't get the crit. We get Disable, which is fine, and then we Thunderbolt to finish because it's, again, the Shake move. So now we have 101 HP entering Koga, which is pretty good. We were pretty likely to live this fight. Koga is a pretty big way for you to lose time in yellow. The Koga fight is that we have to set up an X accuracy and an X speed somewhere in this fight. We need to set up an X accuracy first on the Venonat, and this Venonat has Sleep Powder. And the problem is we really don't want to have to heal again in battle, because that gives it extra turns for it to do damage. It has Psychic, which is fine, has Psybeam, which can confuse, but we really just don't want to see Sleep Powder. Koga can also X attack, which is like a 25% chance. Yeah. So we X accuracy and we get Sleep Powder, which is really, really bad. So because we're at high HP, our first one's have Psybeam, fine. Because we're at high HP and we can tank multiple hits, I decide to use an X speed here instead of immediately recovering the sleep. So now I have both my X items set up. It uses Psychic. So I decided to use a Poke Flute here instead of a full restore, and that's because if I get hit with another Psychic, I get put into Red Bar. So now I have Red Bar for this fight. So this wasn't a good fight. Having to Poke Flute in battle is definitely slow, and the fact that I didn't crit the hit though means I'm losing time to world record, which does. So I'm losing a lot of time to record here, but this was like, I'm not dead at least, so it's something. Thank you. Hello, Head Blob. Yeah, so because we set up the X accuracy and speed, we outspeed everything, and we can 1-hit KO everything. So after that, it's a free fight, and we get the Red Bar level up there, so... Yeah, so I lost like 12 seconds to world record, which is a lot of time. So now instead of being ahead of record, I'm behind record. But this is like the big, this is like the worst split that world record has, is the Blaine split. And I'll explain it once we get there. But first we're gonna bike and get the strength TM, and then we're gonna do probably the biggest menu that exists in Gen 1. Yep, Wave's favorite menu. One of my favorite menus as well. But this menu is really, really packed with a lot of different things. So I'll pause every time we do something. So we're going to open our menu. We're going to repel because we need to repel to surf to Cinnabar Mansion. So repel. We're going to elixir to recover PP. We're going to full restore to full HP because we need the HP to get past some of the later gyms. We're going to teach Ice Beam because at this point we need to replace Thrash with the Ice Beam to get past Erica. And then we're going to swap our X attacks to the top of our bag, and then teach Strength, teach Surf, and then use Rare Candy. So it's like a gigantic menu. So if I list everything: Super Repel, Elixir, Full Restore, teach Ice Beam, swap X attack, teach Strength, teach Surf, and Rare Candy. So 8 different things in this menu, which is like really, really crazy. So I had a pretty good menu. It's like I had a few mistakes, I think, but overall this was like very, very clean for me. And then we fly to Pallet Town and we surf to Cinnabar. One thing I haven't really talked about is that bag management in Gen 1 is very, very important. Your bag can only fit 20 items at a time, and we want to make sure that we have exactly 20 items whenever we fight a gym leader. And that's because when you beat a gym leader, they talk for a little bit and then they try to give you a TM and they explain what their TM does. But that's really, really slow. And if you have a full bag, they say something like, please make room for this, and then they leave you alone, which is much, much faster. So every time that we fight a gym leader, we want to make sure we have 20, which means that every time we use up an item in between 2 gyms, we need to make sure we fill our bag. So that menu, we used our Ice Beam TM and we used our Rare Candies. So we need to fill up our bag with 2 items before we end up fighting Blaine. So we pick up a Carbos, which is one of the items we need to fill up our bag. I think so. Also, one thing I didn't mention is that we are not high enough level to skip encounters in Pokemon Mansion, even with the Repel. There is level 43 Rattatas and Raticates, and level 46 Raticates that we can encounter. World Record gets 2 Raticates, which means that it loses like 22 seconds-ish to encounters. And this run gets 0. A little bit of a spoiler, but I get 0 encounters. So boom, I just saved 20 plus seconds on record. Also, Secret Key is the second item we need to fill up our bags, so now we are back to 20. Hello, Fran. So now we dig out of Pokemon Mansion and fly back to Cinnabar, and we get ready to fight Blaine. So at this point, I'm getting pretty excited about the run. There's still Yellow has a lot of fights in the late game that can kill you. It is very scary, but this pace alone is very, very good. Just the fact that I had no mansion encounters means I'm going to save a huge amount of time over my target and world record. At this point, I'm not even really thinking about record. My goal at the time was just to get a good PB. My PB was like a 154.37, something like that. It was maybe not 30, it was like 30 something. I don't 34. So I was just trying to get a good PB, but I had world record splits for comparison, and we'll see what happens. But the only thing I want to know for blend questions is that even though you don't see the cursor go down, like for example, my cursor didn't move off of yes. By hitting B, you can actually answer yes without moving your cursor. So that's a little bit faster than like moving your cursor down and hitting A for no. What is 31? I'm confused. Oh, my PB. Yeah, okay, 154.31. Thank you. Yeah, so this was another fight that was rerouted in the past year. Before, we used to do a lot of things, but the main fight was we used to X attack on Ninetales and then Earthquake everything. The problem is Ninetales has Flamethrower, which if it crits, I'm pretty sure you can die. Flamethrower can also burn you, and it does a ton of damage. It has Quick Attack, which is good, and it has Confuse Ray, which is really, really scary. However, we managed to route the fight where we just Earthquake the Ninetales right away, and then suspense builds, and then we X attack on the Rapidash instead. And the Rapidash has much less scary moves. It has Stomp, it has Takedown, which are fine. It has Fire Spin, which can be bad, but it can also miss, and it has Growl, which is the worst case scenario, but thankfully we didn't see it. But we need the X attack in order to outspeed and to kill the Arcanine. Otherwise, Arcanine doesn't die, and it outspeeds us. Sorry, I think we needed to outspeed the Rapidash. Maybe the Arcanine too, but definitely the Rapidash. But that was a good Blaine fight. Only taking Stomp there was very, very good. So you can see, bam, I saved like 24 seconds on the world record and 10 seconds on my target. So very, very good split. So again, with the badge boost, Blaine gives us the special badge boost, which gives us a passive 12.5% increase to our special stat. And we actually need that badge boost in order to one-shot some of Erica's Pokemon with Ice Beam. Otherwise, they just don't die. So that's partially why we fight Blaine before Erica. It's because we want the special badge boost here. Yep, so this fight's pretty simple. These fights are all pretty simple because I don't think so. I know Surge says he gives speed, but gives defense, and Koga actually gives speed. That might be what you're thinking of. But with Ice Beam, we just one-shot everything. These are pretty simple fights. Before, when we used to have Blizzard, we used to have to Blizzard these things, and Blizzard is 90% accurate, and if you miss, it could be pretty bad. But because Ice Beam is 100% accurate, it's just a lot safer and more consistent that it allows us to have these easier fights. So Erica, we just Ice Beam everything. Very good fight. I think I do lose a little bit of time to my target because I had a slow dig out of Blaine's gym, but other than that, it's like not that big of a deal. Let's see what I get. Yeah, I lose a little bit of time there. Not too bad. Like 0.7 to Bokugai, 0.3 on my targets. So now we faced 7 of the gyms. We're going to face Giovanni, the last one. Giovanni is the main reason why we healed to, we 4-stored to full HP after Koga. I'll explain more when we get to the fight, but Giovanni is very, very scary and the start of what is referred to as the Yellow Crit Gauntlet, which is a series of fights where you're fine, but if you get crit, you die. So it's very, very fun, of course. Haha. This fight is absolutely free. We just Ice Beam and one-shot it. Should probably speed through these, but now it's too late. So now we get to the black belt fight. This fight is not nearly as scary as it is in red and blue, where this fight can kill you, but we really don't want to take damage from this trainer. If we take any damage at all, we are probably going to have to heal again before Giovanni. Machoke has, if I remember correctly, like Focus Energy, Leer, Low Kick, and Karate Chop, and the trainer can also use an X attack. So it's like something like 3/8 to hit you with the move, something like that. So it's not that likely, but I'm just really hoping for like X attack or Leer Focus Energy so I don't have to heal again because I'm at pretty good HP right now. So I have to set up an X attack and I get X attack back. So that's very, very good. So now with X attack, I can one-shot everything with Earthquake. If I didn't set up an X attack, I wouldn't be able to kill these with Earthquake. Or at least it would be a range, or like a really bad range. Yeah, so far this is a very good split because I didn't have to heal before Giovanni. So now enter Giovanni. This fight can be very, very scary. He opens with a Dugtrio that outspeeds you, and you need to set up an X speed and X accuracy. Dugtrio has a very fast crit rate. It's very fast, but it has a high crit rate and has Earthquake and Dig. It also has Fissure, and because Dugtrio outspeeds you, you need to open with an X speed because there's a chance that if you X accuracy turn 1, the Dugtrio will just Fissure and just one-shot you. So the first thing is we need to X speed and wait and see what happens. So let's see what happens. So we X speed. So now Dugtrio uses Dig. So we cannot hit Dugtrio at this point. So we have to use an X accuracy and just pray we live Dig. So at this HP, Dig does like 108 max. So I should live unless it crits me. And Dugtrio's crit rate is like 12%, I want to say. Maybe higher. I should probably check. It is 23.44% chance to crit me. Basically 1 in 4. So it is very, very scary. Good call. But thankfully, I don't get crit and I live, and the rest of the fight is free. Yeah, I'll think of Sand Flash, my bad. The thing is, the reason why I wanted this particular HP and why I said this HP was good is because if I got hit with Dig or Earthquake, I would be in red bar. And red bar is, of course, faster than not being in red bar because you get to skip the jingles. So normally, if you got Earthquaked by the Dugtrio and didn't have the turn to set up, you would Horn Drill the so you would Earthquake the Dugtrio, and then you would have to set up an X accuracy on the Persian, and the Persian has like a 50% chance to kill you with like Slash or Fury Swipes, depending on your HP. So because I got Dig, I was able to set up both X items on the Dugtrio. Otherwise, if I got a move like Fissure or Earthquake, I would have had to set up on the Persian, and that could have been scarier. But now the fight is guaranteed. So this was a very, very good fight for sure. Just the fact that I'm alive and I've red bar for the first half of it is very, very good. Yep, so there I have red bar for the level up. And now I just one-shot everything with Horn Drill, which is very nice. 23.44, which is pretty close to 1-4. Unfortunately, I level up out of red bar here, which is not a big deal, but it is kind of annoying. But I was going to have to heal for the next fight anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. It just loses that jingle, which is like a couple seconds. But you can see, like, this was a gold split for me. I saved 6 seconds on world record and 11 seconds on my target, so this was a fantastic split, considering I didn't have to heal before Giovanni and had red bar for the first half of Giovanni fight. So now here's another big menu. I'm going to repel again because there's grass. I'm going to heal with a super potion for the next fight. I'm going to swap X attack with X specials because I'm not going to use X attack anymore. And I make a mistake. I accidentally select strength instead of using the Carbos. So that cost me like 3 seconds there, but it was still a good menu other than that. But that was a mistake for sure. So this fight coming up, I have to set up an X special and give the Sand Slash 1 turn. It can't kill me. It has Slash, Fury Swipes, Swift, and not Sand Attack. What is his last move? Is it Poison Sting? Yeah, Poison Sting, which it never uses. I really want Slash at this point because Slash would give me red bar, but I get Swift. So Swift is better than Fury Swipes. So I'll take it. I would have liked the red bar, but this is fine. Not a huge deal. But after the X special, I just sweep the rest of the Pokemon with Ice Beam and Thunderbolts, and occasionally Earthquakes. So this is a pretty straightforward fight after the first turn. Everything dies, 1 hit guaranteed after the special. This was also another fight that was rerouted more recently. We used to X accuracy during this fight and Horn Drill more things, but since we have Ice Beam now, we just X special, and the Carbos is necessary to outspeed this Kadabra as well. Yep, so there's another level up that we don't get to skip, and then yeah, Flareon dies in 1 hit, so that's good. So all in all, not a fantastic fight, but I mean, not getting Fury Swipes is good here, so can't really complain too much. It's fine. And it was a good scroll to X Special as well, so no complaints. So now we get to do the badge check. There's not too much to talk about. I'm not going to skip it, but it's pretty straightforward. We just go through each of the guards stop us and we check the badge. One thing I will note right now, and I'll note it again once we get to the floor, but one of the floors of Victory Road has Onyxes that are, I think, level 49, which is higher level than what we are. And so we are able to get Onyx encounters in Victory Road. It is not that common, but it can happen. I think you're like expected to get 1, maybe less than 1, but it's like pretty close to 1. World record does get 1 Onyx, but if I didn't get an Onyx here, I would save another 10 seconds on record, or 11 seconds, or however long. It's like 11-ish seconds for Onyx encounters. So that would be really, really cool if I got it, but I'm not like expecting to get 0 Onyx. I just don't want more than 1. That's my real hope here. So badge check, pretty straightforward. We're gonna go in, use strength. In this gen, you actually like have to use the move from your Pokemon menu. Like if you talk to the boulder, it just says like, this is a boulder that you look like you can move or something like that. So you have to actually like open your Pokemon and use moves like strength or cut or surf, which they did change starting in Gen 2. I just forgot about it, okay. There's a lot to cover, and sometimes I forget what is not well-known knowledge for Gen 1. Yeah, so there's no Onyxes on this floor yet. This floor is safe. We also make sure that we avoid these trainers. And then we use our repel on this tile. It's a very specific tile because it gives us like, we only have 1 or 2 tiles of leeway between this repel and the next usage. This boulder is also really, really laggy. I think it's because the Moltres sprites on this floor cause like extra lag, but that boulder is like especially laggy and pretty hard to buffer the movement correctly. So I actually made a mistake there. It didn't cost too much time, but it is a mistake. And then this floor is, of course, the floor you can get Onyx, and the first tile is an Onyx tile. It's because of color lag, probably. So that's the Onyx I get. I have to open my menu and use Strength again, and then push the boulder. So I can get Onyxes on this floor. So I'm just really hoping, I was like, that's a really early Onyx. I really hope I don't get any more Onyxes, because I have a lot more of this floor I have to go through. So every time I push, I'm just like really, really nervous. Like, please, please, no more Onyxes. I'm pretty sure Gunner's world record has like 0 rats and 0 Onyxes, which is pretty crazy. That's like really, really good RNG for encounters. So we're done with this boulder, and now we have to make it to the last boulder. So here I'm still thinking, please no Onyxes, please no Onyxes. And we make it. So we're not completely out of the woods yet. You do dip back into that floor for like 6 tiles, something like that. So you can get even like 2 more Onyxes from here, but it's not as likely. But this floor is safe. You don't get Onyxes on this floor. So going here, what's going through my mind is that I had to use a 4-star after Koga to heal the full, so I'm only at 1 4-star right now. And because my run is so far ahead of world record and my target, I decided to pick up the hidden 4-star at the end of Victory Road to make sure I have enough healing items to make it through safely. So that's the floor. Oh, one, sorry. So this is the floor where you can get Onyxes again. So you can get like 2, maybe even 3 Onyxes if you're really unlucky. Maybe 2 only is max. But I didn't get Onyxes, and then I pick up the 4-star here. So definitely playing it on the safer side with the 4-star. But I have enough time for despair. It might be impossible. I didn't count the steps. So now I'm going to deposit all of my Pokemon because I'm not going to use them anymore, and it's faster to deposit them now than to keep them and for them to appear in the Hall of Fame cutscene, because the cutscene is like 8-ish seconds per Pokemon. So I saved like 24 seconds in the Hall of Fame-ish by depositing those, and then whatever time it takes to deposit is not 24 seconds, so it's just worth it to deposit. And I'm going to take the Pokemon Center to recover my HP and PP for Lorelei, because I was at like 40-ish HP. So this Lorelei fight is a little bit interesting. I have to set up an X accuracy to one-shot her entire team with Horn Drill, so I give her 1 turn to do anything against me. This Dugong is roughly 1/3 to use Aurora Beam, 1/3 to use Bubble Beam, 1/3 to use Rest, and it's like 1% chance to use Takedown, and I've never seen Takedown in my life. So most of the time it's between those 3 options. Aurora Beam and Bubble Beam are the worst case scenario because if they crit, you just die if you get crit. So she's part 2 of the Crit Gauntlet, where if you get crit, you die. Bubble Beam can also Speedfall, which is not the end of the world, but pretty bad. So we really just want to see Rest here because it sets up nicely for the rest of E4 to be safe. So here, I'm thinking, oh no, Bubble Beam, just please don't crit, please don't Speedfall. Dugong misses, and that's the Gen 1 miss. The 0.4% for any move to miss, and it happens on Lorelei, which is like really, really insane. So at this point, I'm like laughing my ass off because like for a Gen 1 miss to happen in one of the more like most clutch places for a Gen 1 miss to happen, yeah, Aurora Beam attack drop does not matter at all. But that was like one of the craziest Gen 1 misses I've ever seen just because of how clutch it was. So now like I am very, very safe to set up all the way until Lance basically. So I'm not really at any risk of dying until I get to Agatha, and even then Agatha is like pretty safe when you're at this high HP. So that was a very, very good Lorelei fight. So I lose time on target because target assumes that you get no Onyxes, but I should be roughly even with world record just because of the world record gets an Onyx and I get an Onyx. So yeah, so I'm basically even with record still. I lose a little bit of time to target, but that was like a fantastic outcome to not take damage there. So here I'm going to use an Elixir to recover the Hornjewels I just used. And now we're going to enter Bruno. So Bruno, we also have to set up an X accuracy. We set up on Hitmonchan. So Bruno can use X defend, which is like a 1 in 4 chance-ish. Hitmonchan can use Thunder Punch, which does nothing. Double Team, which does nothing because of our X accuracy, ignores Double Team. Fire Punch, which is fine as long as it doesn't burn us. And then Ice Punch, which can freeze, but it's just annoying. Targets are, yeah, made up at this point. So I X accuracy and Double Team, that's fine. I think Thunder Punch is technically the fastest, but Double Team is fine just because I didn't take any damage. So I'd have to deal with like potentially getting burned or frozen. It's just a very clean fight. So from here, it's just Horn Drill the rest and Ice Beam the Onyx. So good Bruno. So that's 2 Elite Four members down and 3 more to go. I guess 2 more plus champ to go. So Agatha. So because I'm at such high HP, I don't have to do any menus. I can just go directly into the fight. Agatha is really, 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 really annoying in yellow. At this HP, you're not really likely to die, but you're likely to lose a lot of time. This fight is really, really horrible. So we have to set up an X item on Gengar because Gengar outspeeds us. And Gengar has Lick, which can paralyze us. It has Substitute, which is obviously very slow. It has Mega Drain, which is the best move it can use. And it has Confuse Ray, I think. So 3 of those moves are really, really terrible. Lick is okay if it doesn't paralyze us. Agatha can also swap, which is like the best case scenario. But I'm really just hoping for Mega Drain because that's like the safest non-swap result. So I set up an X speed here to outspeed all of Agatha's Pokemon, and Mega Drain, amazing. Anything that's not Substitute or Confuse Ray is like really, really good. So I'm through the Gengar. Perfect. So now I have to Ice Beam the Golbat. This Golbat does not normally die to an Ice Beam. And the Golbat has moves like, I think it also has Confuse Ray. It has Wing Attack, Leech Life, Confuse Ray, and Toxic, I want to say. So most of the time it's fine, but Confuse Ray is very troll. So I'm just hoping for like Wing Attack or Leech Life. It does not have haze, but I crit it. And the crazy thing is, like, it's not even likely to die to a critical. Like, crit is a range for it to kill. So not only did I need to crit it, but I needed to like get a good roll for the crit as well. And I got it. So that was a really, really insane Agatha fight. Like getting Mega Drain into crit Golbat is almost perfect. So at this point, I'm like really excited because I had a really good run until now, and then I get like a perfect Agatha fight. So now because I use the X speed, I'm able to outspeed the rest of Agatha's Pokemon, the Haunter, the Arbok, and the Gengar, and they all die to Earthquake. So at this point, I have 144 HP, and because I'm so far ahead of world record and my target, I go for a very safe strategy entering Lance. So normally, the play when you're entering Lance is you heal to near full HP, you let Gyarados hit you while you set up, and then depending on how much damage Gyarados does, you have to set up on either the first or the second Dragonair and let them hit you as well. And depending on those rolls, they can like crit you, they can freeze you with like Ice Beam or slow you with Bubble Beam, and it could be like very terrible. But instead of healing to full, what I decided to do is I am high enough to live all Hydro Pumps that don't crit me. So my plan is I will go in to the fight without healing. I'll set up normally. If I get hit with Hydro Pump, fine. I just 4-store, not a big deal. I have enough time to 4-store and be fine, and it's very, very safe. But if Hydro Pump misses, I get the absolute top end fight where I don't have to heal before it lands, and I don't have to heal in battle either. So that's what I'm playing around. If I get Hydro Miss, that's the best possible fight. But if I get hit with Hydro Pump, as long as I don't get crit, and crit kills you at full HP anyway, I can play it safe and just 4-store in battle. So I'm planning on playing this fight very safe, but I am internally hoping for a Hydro Miss because that would be absolutely insane. So I set up an X special, and does it miss? No. So as long as it doesn't crit me, and Gyarados has, I think, like a 16% crit rate, 15.8. So it doesn't crit me, so I'm fine. So right now, I'm very, very likely to win this fight. It would be like very hard for me to lose this. So I 4-star right away. Accidentally mess up and click Super Potion. Not a big deal. Lose like a second or two. So I 4-star. I get Slam, which is fine. And then I set up my second X special. And at this point, I'm safe, even from Hyper Beam crit. So now I Ice Beam, and I can sweep the rest of Lance's Pokemon. And Lance is done. So that was a slow fight for sure, because I had to heal in battle. But very, very safe, and I'm okay with taking this fight safe because of how far ahead I was of world record. So definitely the right play. So now, again, one reason why we're able to outspeed this Aerodactyl is because when we used the X specials, it gave us a speed badge boost because it recalculated our stats, and we had the speed badge boost from Koga. So that gave us enough speed to outspeed the Aerodactyl. And then we hit the Dragonite, and that was, as you can see, we're losing time to my target and world record, but still I'm like way ahead of those splits, so it's perfectly fine. So going into the champ, this is the last fight of the game, and of course part of the crit gauntlet. We have to set up on the Sandslash, and the Sandslash will always use Earthquake. Earthquake does max, I think, 162 with this specific Nidoran. So I heal to survive an Earthquake, and as long as I don't get crit, I am very, very likely to world record. So it's 12%-ish to crit me. So as long as I don't get crit, I have a very good chance of getting record here. So I set up an X special, and now I just pray. Also, the reason why I didn't heal to full HP is because, I'll mention it. The reason I didn't heal to full HP is because I actually want red bar. So if I heal to full, I'm less likely to be in red bar after this Earthquake, but I get a good roll. I am in red bar. I lived. I didn't get crit. Now, what people in the chat are saying is that this is the main reason why Ice Beam was routed back into this game, is this fight specifically. And that's because this fight used to be don't get crit, land a Blizzard, which is 90% accurate, and then depending on how good your Nidoran is, land either 74% or 85% range. So the Nidoran you get at the beginning of the game is not the same Nidoran. It can vary between 13 special and 15 special. If you have 13 special, it's a 74% range to die to Blizzard. So not only do you have to live Sandslash, not get crit, land the Blizzard, and get the range. It was like a ridiculous fight. It was like so crazy that this fight used to be a thing. Like if you have bad special, this fight in lands was basically a coin flip of whether or not you you live or you die. It's like really crazy. And I remember like Pokeguy had like 3 runs in a row where he either like missed the range or missed Blizzard on world record pace, and it was like the craziest series I've ever seen, where in like 2 weeks he had 3 runs that were world record pace and like missed Blizzard. I think he missed a range, didn't he? I think one of them was a missed range. It might have been 3 misses straight though. But that was the biggest reason why Ice Beam was routed back, is because of this exact fight and the Lance fight too, but mostly this fight is now we don't have to land a 90% move on top of getting a range. So because I didn't die, Ice Beam is now guaranteed to kill the Sand Slash. Good, number one. Number two is I have to not General Miss this Alakazam, which has happened before, but thankfully I don't General Miss. So that's number two. This Executor only can use Leech Seed and Hypnosis. Leech Seed is best case scenario because I have to set up an X accuracy, but I get Hypnosis. So Hypnosis loses like 8 to 9 seconds. So I have to Poke Flute. I get Hypnosis again, but it fails. So that's perfectly fine. One Hypnosis is not enough time for me to lose record. So now there's only one thing left that stands between me and getting world record, and that is this Magneton. This Magneton is like 35 out of 39 to die to Earthquake, but it's like 4 out of 39 to it's like 4 out of 39 to live. And if it lives, it has a chance to use like Swift, which can kill me. I think it has Supersonic too, which is really bad. So I really just want this thing to die. I don't think it's 30 out of 39, but I can check. I'll check after. I'm pretty sure it's not that good though, friend. But thankfully I get the range and now I get world record. It's guaranteed. Everything, as long as I don't pick the wrong move, I am guaranteed to get record. And I was like really, really excited at this point, obviously, because I was not expecting to get record. I was just trying to get a good PB. Yeah, as long as my power doesn't go out as well. Yeah, Magneton is a range, unfortunately. I think they fixed that with the current route, because this route is not the current world record route, because Yellow went through another route change after I got this record. But at the time, this was a route. But yeah, this was my first world record, because I have 2 at the time of this recording, and this was very, very insane for me that I knew I was capable of getting times this good, but I didn't think it'd actually happen, and I would have been happy with any time better than my target, but obviously this was like a very, very good improvement on a world record. Hello, Pokeguy. Do you know what the Magneton range used to be off the top of your head for this route? I'm saying I think it was 35 out of 39, but I don't remember for sure. $37, close. So 37 out of 39 range, yeah. So it's 2 out of 39 for it to die, but it lived. Or sorry, it died. 2 out of 39 for it to live, but thankfully it died, and world record. Yeah, so that was hopefully a fun commentary of the record, talking about the Ice Beam changes and how it really made the route more consistent. This is no longer the current route, like I said before. It was rerouted again to a slightly better route. It's mostly similar, but there's more flexibility in terms of getting red bar. So if you want to check that out, you should definitely join the Gen 1 through 3 Pokemon Speedrunning Discord. I'll probably link that in the description. Otherwise, yeah, this was fun. Peace.